Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to see you all here today, and so excited to get to share the stage with Malika, so thank you. So Malika did a great job talking through and reminding us what is the mission and the vision of the All Children Thrive Learning Network. I'm going to take just a minute and think about what does it mean to be a learning network. Now, if you've been here in the last few sessions, you've seen me spend a lot of time on this particular slide. We're just going to look at it briefly today, but to remember that really a learning network is a unique way to bring together a lot of different viewpoints, areas of expertise, lived experiences to address really wicked problems that none of us can address on our own. You see some of those key elements on the right side of the slide to help make up a learning network. That we have a shared purpose that Malika just named, right? We want our kids and our families to thrive. We have communal capability. So I think a lot about how are we bringing some shared methods so that we can collaborate more effectively to have ongoing impact. We've got rapid learning, so we're not afraid to try something new, to learn from it, and then try something again. So we're going to keep moving forward. And then finally, we've got a systems level focus with everything we do. So I want to spend a minute there on the system level focus. So we had some great conversations last December about what it means to have a systems focus. Using a little bit of an example, I work at Cincinnati Children's. We provide health care, and we want our kids to be healthy. That's amazing. But you know what? If I think about it, I'm probably not going to be effective at healthy kids if I'm not also thinking about, do they have enough food to eat? Are they hungry? Do they have food access? Is there anybody here in this room working on food access, SNAP benefits, making sure there's food equity? Raise your hand. All right. Yes. Okay, great. Oh, but you know what? We're probably not going to make progress there if we're not thinking about economics, workforce development, poverty, making sure we're addressing those underlying issues. Who's working on those issues? Job, workforce development. All right, we got some people here in the room. I have another one though. You know, we're not going to make a lot of progress there if we're not thinking about academics, early childhood development, making sure we're preparing our young people to go on and get the jobs. Who's working in schools, academics, early childhood? Yes. Okay, but you know what? We won't make progress there if we are not hand in hand with our parents, our caregivers, our community members who are the first and primary teacher of our young people. Any parents, caregivers, community members here today? Yeah, I love the waving of the hands. Yes, that is so important. So we can see, right? We need to understand as a system how all of us are influencing each other. And we need to figure out how to move from my goals and your goals to our shared goals. Easy as pie, right? It's actually super hard, which is why we have some tools that can help us. We've talked a lot in this room about quality improvement and improvement science, and you know, there's even a 101, a little reminder, refresher in your folder if you want to look at some of those ideas. But this is a process. We might be creating a key driver diagram to really all agree on what are we trying to do together, and what are the key factors we need to work on to get there. We might be designing PDSAs, tests of change, to make sure we're trying new things to change the system. These learning sessions are another intentional tool. This is how we come together and start to understand all the other pieces in the system. So we do this a couple of times a year and always look for these opportunities to connect. And then there's another tool we're going to get a little deeper into today, which is upstream thinking, right? So maybe you've heard the expression, don't lock the barn door after the horse has escaped, right? We want to take a different approach. So it is super important that we address the need in front of us. That might be a kiddo in 3rd grade who's not reading, a family who's hungry. We have to pour resources there and take care of those individuals. But there's value too in understanding what was that pathway that led them to this point. And are there ways to interrupt that pathway for the next kids and the next families coming down the line? How are we going to do this today? Well, first we're going to hear from our fabulous Ignite speaker, who is creating some opportunities for youth to have a different pathway. We're going to take a deeper dive into that tool I showed you up there on the board, and then break into smaller groups to really understand how do we apply that tool to our everyday work. And then in the second half of the day, we're going to take time to network, to connect, and to celebrate some of the things that have worked and bring that systems view to our upstream thinking as well. And what do we hope is going to happen with each of you today? Well, first, we're counting on you to bring and share your perspective, because that's the only way we're going to understand the system. We're going to hope that you have a new tool that helps you better look upstream in your own work and think about the pathway that moved us forward. I see what you mean, Malika.
It moves forward for you.
It does. And then finally, hoping that you can make a connection with someone in this room to move from my goal and your goal to our goals. So we'll see at the end of the day how we did. In the meantime, we do have our butterfly boards back again. We would love to hear from you. Jot a Post-it note. What are you thinking, feeling? What connections have you made? What are you going to do next week? We can learn from those and help build these and make them even better as we go. All right, now it is my great pleasure to introduce our Ignite speaker for today. Damian Hoskins was here in December, but I will say he left us all wanting more. So we have invited him back to give us a fuller tale of the work that he's doing. Damian Hoskins is the Executive Director of Elements Hip Hop Cultural Arts Center. The center recognizes hip hop as a cultural and a global creative force, igniting potential and inspiring possibilities among our young people. He is also a professor of hip hop studies at the UC College Conservatory of Music, and you can read about all the other great things he's done in the bios in your folder. But for now, please join me in welcoming Damian Hoskins.